us. He is a real estate investment consultant, no other than Giancarlo Carangelo.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Giancarlo, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
My name is Giancarlo Carangelo. I'm a real estate investor and manager. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been doing this for over 10 years now, based out of Montreal. And I do real estate investing, consulting, and management in my day to day.
Mr. Giancarlo, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today, let's think about the blueprint for scaling in real estate. What are the 3 to 5 absolutely essential pillars that must be in a real estate scaling blueprint, regardless of niche?
So I think when we're looking to scale real estate, the main three things that we need to determine is number one, a target market. What type of real estate avenue are we going to invest in? Is it going to be buy and hold, short-term rentals, or fix and flips? That would definitely be my first one, determining your market. After that, I would definitely say that the second most important thing is building your power team, because you could only get so far by yourself, but with a quality team around you, you could really go further. And the third thing when it comes to scaling real estate is exploring creative financing options, or like what we call in the world of real estate investing, OPM, other people's money.
How does the mindset of a successful scaling real estate leader fundamentally differ from that of a successful solo agent or a small team operator?
Well, I think, when you're talking about mindset in this business, it's important to remember that just like any other business, there's going to be challenges, and you don't know when those challenges are going to come. So you need to be really resilient, and you need to have crystal clear focus, because it could be really easy for setbacks or obstacles to really pull you off track. So by having a resilient mindset and having that end goal in sight at all times, no matter what situation you're faced with, it definitely will allow you to, take the opportunities and the challenges as they come, but not get completely derailed by them.
How critical is having a crystal clear long term vision when building and scaling blueprint, Mr. Giancarlo?
Very critical. I think that having a long-term vision, everybody should have a long-term vision when they're building or scaling the real estate business. I also think that it's important to understand that small actionable steps lead to your long-term vision. When you climb a ladder, you climb it one step at a time. You don't go from the bottom to the top, in one step. So those small actionable steps will get you to your long-term goal and your long-term vision.
Yes, people, baby step, baby step. What are the key indicators that a real estate business is truly ready to scale or beyond just having initial success?
So some of the key indicators I would definitely say is to have all your chess pieces in place. So earlier I mentioned about putting a team together, and you cannot take on more doors, more properties, more deals if you do not have the right amount of boots on the ground and reliable resources, such as people in this business, to really maintain and manage that portfolio. And then having proper systems in place is definitely another one. I mean, it's always easier to implement your systems at the very beginning as opposed to trying to introduce them later on in your journey. So by assuring that you have your proper structure and system in place from the very get-go, with combined with your reliable team, those are two of the main key indicators.
Very well said, Mr. Giancarlo. Very well said. And what's your philosophy on hiring for scale? Do you prioritize recruiting experienced agents or training your own?
That's a very good question. In my
Thank
personal
you.
business, I've done both. They've both worked, but I would have to say that for me, my the best experience and the best results yielded from training my own agents and really helping them develop their skill sets and hone and harness their skills as they grow. Um, the reason why is because more experienced, entrepreneurs or agents or people in my field will have their routine, have their structure, and have their ways of doing things already. And sometimes it doesn't always work well with your specific business model. But by training my own agents and helping them develop their skills, I've seen the best results.
The best result indeed. As the founder scales, how must their leadership style and focus evolve? What other responsibilities must they have delegate to keep growing?
So I think as I grew my business and I scaled my real estate portfolio and my real estate business, at the very beginning, I had the lone wolf mentality where I could have done anything and I could have done everything. And I got to a certain point where I understood that if I want to bring the business to the next level, we need to open it up to new talents, new team members. And with that came the challenge of delegating tasks. Because, for example, when we delegate a task and we offload a task to one of our internal agents, whether they're leasing an apartment or managing the maintenance or acquisitions, we want to assure that the agent is trustworthy, reliable, and responsible. And we want to assure that the people that we're working to or delegating a task to has all those qualities. We don't need to worry. Once we delegate the task, we know that if I hand the task over to Daniel, Daniel's aware of his timeline. He knows that, and I know that he could complete it within the timeline with satisfactory results. So I think by having clear communication with the people that you're delegating the tasks to, the projects to, with a clear deadline on this, um, leaves less room for ambiguity and less room for error.
Less room for error for sure. And beyond basic CRMs, what core business processes, lead follow up, or transaction management, or agent onboarding are the most crucial to systematize early smooth scaling? Any surprising ones?
So definitely having everything structured goes a long way. CRMs is something that I wish I utilized earlier on in my business.
Yes.
And there's plenty of great CRM softwares out there, and having that all organized, and sometimes it's these little things that really make the difference. For example, you mentioned follow up.
Yes.
Well, when we're doing an acquisition or when we're doing a deal, we don't always get the deal done on the first contact. Sometimes it takes 3, 4 follow-ups to get it done. And we might get it done on the fourth follow-up, we might get it done on the second, but the important point to remember here is that it is the follow-up that got the deal done, that got the results. And having a proper CRM system can really help you structure these follow-ups and make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. And it goes back to what I mentioned earlier about implementing systems early on instead of trying to introduce them later.
Mr. Giancarlo, what are the top three, five key performance indicators that KBIS, a scaling brokerage or team should obsess over to differ from smaller operation?
Okay, so the top three key indicators. So when we're looking to scale a property, scale a business or a real estate business or acquisitions, the top three things that you need is proactivity. Every day you need to be proactive with what your duties are. So if I know that I'm an acquisitions manager within the company and I know that my responsibility is to make contacts with sellers and homeowners and building owners every day, then I need to stay on top of that. I need to be proactive. And every day, whether the number is 5 new contacts, 10 new contacts, or 20 new contacts, every day I need to put in that proactivity to get those contacts done. The second part to that becomes consistency. So if my contact number is 10 new contacts per day, or 10 new contacts every time I pick up the phone and hunt for a property or a building, well, I can't expect to get quality results if I do my 10 contacts one day and not the next day, and I skip the day after that, and then 3 days later I'll do my contacts. By having consistency layered with your proactivity, you could really yield the best results.
The best result indeed, for sure. And how does the approach to lead generation and marketing need to transform to support consistent growth?
So, in my business, everything has to do with lead generation. We cannot make deals, we cannot make business happen if we do not generate new leads on a daily, weekly, or monthly business. Marketing is a huge part of that lead generation. As you know, we live in a digital world. Everything is digital. So it's all about staying on top of the trends and the marketing trends and staying on top of things like most recently AI, which really helps the lead generation and the marketing operations. So ever evolving with these trends and maximizing your marketing outreach through lead generation call to actions is some of the best things. And it's ongoing. It's always going to change. It's always changed. If we think about it in the last 10, 15 years, it's always changed. If I look at real estate 20 years ago, people were sending flyers and letters out in the mail. And if I want to do real estate acquisitions today, the last thing I would do is send flyers and letters out in the mail, because you do not reach as many people as you can through a virtual digital marketing ad.
Very well said, Mr. Giancarlo. Beautifully, beautifully articulated. What are the most common funding strategies real estate business use to fuel their scaling efforts?
Yeah, so that's a great question. The most common funding strategy that any experienced real estate investor uses is OPM, other people's money. And this falls into creative financing. So traditional financing routes, one way or another, eventually you will get blocked, and everybody is different. Some people might buy 2 properties and get blocked. Some people might buy 5 properties and get blocked by the traditional financial institutions. But there comes a point in every investor's journey, if they want to scale their business and purchase more property and invest and really scale their portfolio, they need to utilize creative financing. And creative financing comes in the form of other people's money. So going outside, thinking outside of the box, outside of the traditional funding methods, and really thinking of creative ways to get these acquisitions done.
Hmm. Interesting, Mr. Giancarlo. Interesting indeed. As a real estate investment consultant, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
So, as a real estate investment consultant, short term, we are looking to build a community across North America that could really collaborate with each other and develop a community of investors who, just like myself, at one point in time thought it was beyond their reach, and really teach them that they too can be investors. And long term, we're looking to build a worldwide community of investors, developers, and contacts in order to have a global collaboration going on. So if we are working with people in North America who want to do deals in Europe or vice versa, we're looking to build that community.
And good luck to your goals, Mr. Giancarlo. Looking forward for more success and empowering people all over the world, for sure. And what would be your advice for those people out there want to try the real estate business?
So my advice to anyone who would want to get into the real estate business would be to educate yourself. Um, Educating yourself comes in many forms. And the good news about the world that we live in being so digital is everything is at our fingertips. So educate yourselves with strategies, with markets, with what other investors are doing, and inform yourself. Once you are educated and informed, then you could properly put together an action plan that will help yield you results.
Yes, people, educate yourself before you dive in into the real estate business. And thank you for your advice, Mr. Giancarlo. And can you share to us your books that influence your journey?
So, one book that really influenced my journey in my real estate business is called Money, People, Deal. And it's by Stefan Arnio, who is a Canadian real estate investor. And it really influenced my journey because it taught me a lot about creative strategies for deal making. And in order to make a deal happen, you need three things: you need the money, you need the people, and you need the deal. You need to have either access to two of the three or all three. And by reading this book, it taught me a lot. And I actually read the book twice, and I listened to the audiobook three times, because there was always something new I was learning every time. But definitely the biggest book that helped me in my journey was Money, People.
Indeed. Thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Giancarlo. And hoping people are listening or watching right now will read that book and they will empower through their lives. So, how should scaling blueprint incorporate adaptability to handle inevitable market fluctuations and emerging industry disruptions?
All goes back to resiliency. With proper education comes proper planning, and with proper planning, you are fully prepared to navigate any shift in the market, navigate any type of obstacle or setback that you will face in business, and understanding that resiliency is part of the game. Real estate investing is just like any other business. There's busy periods, dead periods, things that happen in the world can affect, for example, things that happen in the world can affect the markets, the way they shift. But understanding that there's always going to be an adjustment that has to be made, learning to be adaptable and learning to be resilient, I think, are some of the things that are invaluable to any business.
Invaluable. For sure. Mr. Giancarlo, before we wrap up our discussion for today,
Yes.
I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season as well. Comedy 101 in second season, and food 101 in fifth season too. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in its fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Giancarlo, if someone listening has a successful small real estate operation and wants to start scaling tomorrow, what is the concrete actionable step you would absolutely tell them to take first?
So, what I would tell them to do first is something that I hesitated to do myself for a couple of years. But when I did, it really helped my business scale and brought it to the next level. Get a coach or a mentor. Get someone, find a coach, find a mentor who has done this business, who has been doing this business, who understands the strategies, who can teach you and mentor you throughout your journey. This will do two things. It'll teach you hands on experience, first and foremost, but it'll save you time, which will save you money. And had I learned this in the first 3 years of my career before I started, before I actually joined coaching and mentorship, it might have saved me a lot of time and a lot of money. But since joining a coaching or mentoring program, I really saw the ability and the type of investor I was before and after. With the strategies, just by having the guidance of experts behind me on my side, it was really one of the most important things I've done for my business. And this is definitely something that I would recommend to anybody who's looking to start or scale a real estate portfolio.
Mr. Giancarlo Carangelo, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or any projects that you are doing right now?
Yeah, so I mean, if anybody wants to connect, they could follow me on Instagram at Carangelo Real Estate. So that's Carangelo Real Estate. We also have a online academy where we could connect with people and help people, develop their skills and their business. It's called ProVenture. So if you go online and type in ProVenture Real Estate Corp, you'll see where you could get in contact with us and potentially come collaborate with us in the future and connect with us.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Giancarlo Carangelo, because if you support him, more and more and more empowering advocacy to come, more and more empowering business to come. So, Mr. Giancarlo, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
More to come, people. See you soon.